You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
The only place you need to go for West Georgia sports.
Interviews with all your favorite UWG athletes and so much more.
Keeping you up to date with the NFL, NBA, MLB, and everything in between. If you want it, we got it.
I mean, plain and simple, the worst decision Kalen DeBoer has ever made is taking the head coaching position at Alabama.
I wholeheartedly believe that behind Sean Payton and a second-year Bo Nix, the Denver Broncos can dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs and be the AFC West champions.
We're also giving you a platform to have your voice heard with our all-new live call-in segment.
So where else would you want to go? We've got all you need and more right here on Sports Pack. What is up, everybody? And welcome to another fantastic Monday edition of Sports Pack. I am your host, Richard Reed, joined today by Ryan Kroger behind the board, Keyshawn Ward to my right, and Jackson Schrader sitting across from us.
Hi, Schrader.
We have been waiting all day to get back behind the mic because there is so much to talk about in the sports world. Obviously, we're jam-packed when it comes to West Georgia sports, but did you know it's NFL Combine Week as well? Seems like the Super Bowl just passed, but we're already back here. The Winter Olympics just wrapped up yesterday. Got some NBA to talk about. And as we get closer and closer to March, there is more and more college basketball to talk about as every second passes by. So we got a whole lot to get into and never enough time to get into it all. But before we get started, I want to remind you that tomorrow UWG softball plays Jacksonville State. But that same day, Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio will also be at the Maple Street Waffle House from 2 to 9 p.m., where you can swing by and have your chance of supporting us here at the station by eating your favorite All-Star Special or hash brown bowls or even a chicken melt. Like whatever it is that you want at Waffle House, swing by and get it, and you doing so will help support us at Wolf Sports Network for our first annual Waffle House Spirit Night. So whether you're going to the softball game or not, be sure to swing by and check us out over here at Wolf Sports Network. Show us some love and support. We will truly appreciate it. You can also support us by visiting our merch store at wolfsportsnetwork.com. If you click About at the top right corner of the screen and click Merch Store, we have all you could ever want from Wolf Sports Network's hats, beanies, polos, t-shirts, hoodies. Whatever it is you want and more is available at our merch store at wolfsportsnetwork.com/merch store. So check us out. And Ryan, how about them Wolves?
Is Widener rolls to the right. He's got some time. Everybody's down at the end zone. He heaves it. And it is caught for a touchdown.
We are one. Go Wolves.
It seems like just yesterday, Schrader, the basketball season that just got started here at the University of West Georgia. We were all super excited going into the season, and for good reason, because both teams had a lot of things to be excited about. Our women's team was extremely competitive all year last year, and we just knew with the right tweaks in certain spaces that team could excel and be great. And they've done just that. They've been incredible throughout the entire season. Every single game has been insanely entertaining, and the last week of regular season play kicks off this week, tomorrow night, when our girls are going on the road to Charlotte, North Carolina to take on Queens University. Schrader, I want to start with you. When looking at this matchup in the final week of the regular season, what are you expecting to see from our girls?
You know, I'm really interested because we've look at Saturday. It was a really close game for 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, we just fell apart at home. And this team, if you've watched them at all this year, you know that they do not fall apart at home. They win at the Coliseum. That's just about all they've done. And so it was an uncharacteristically tough loss for the girls. And I think going into Charlotte, I think we're going to see them bounce back because maybe they realized they needed to take a step back, kind of evaluate some things,
right,
and then make a push. I think they maybe, I don't want to say they thought that they were getting too good or they were getting too comfortable because I don't think they're in that position to be too comfortable, but I have a feeling that they took their foot off the gas a little bit, and they're about to just floor it. I think they're going to go into Queens. They're going to watch out for LaMelo Ball on them streets, but they're going to go in there and they're going to get a dub. I think they're going to get a good convincing one too.
I completely agree. I mean, that game against Central Arkansas last Saturday,
that was tough, man.
That was tough. I mean, you said it. They were there for 3 quarters. And, like, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, but then it looked like within the blink of an eye, that scoreboard just lit up for Central Arkansas. Just turnover after turnover after turnover for West Georgia. And you said it's very uncharacteristic. So going into this Queens game that they really should win, I mean, they have an 81.6% chance of winning this game. I think they should win this, and it's characteristic of them to do it. But if you're going to do what you did against Central Arkansas, there's something to look at there.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, going into the second half, you had everything flowing in the first half, and you kind of just like everything kind of just derailed off the hinges in the second half. You struggled scoring the basket, your field goal percentage dipped, and you just let Central Arkansas go on runs without answering offensively. So if they could get that part handled going into Queens, I think they have a chance. But, they just have to finish strong the same way that they start. If they could do that all 4 quarters, they'd be good.
Yeah, our women's basketball team is currently sitting at 17-10. Extremely successful season, especially when you weigh it compared to the seasons in the past. Even last year, that was very entertaining. We still had a losing record.
Right.
Currently sitting at 17-10. But that loss to Central Arkansas, like you all keep mentioning, was huge.
Yeah.
It was a massive loss because it threw off the seeding in the ASUN Conference Tournament.
Yep.
We're still on probation, so we can't make the official NCAA Women's Tournament, and that's why the conference tournament, matters that much more. And seeding is everything. We're currently in a 2-way tie for 5th place in the conference with the University of North Alabama, who we just so happen to play this coming Friday on the road in Florence. We have to win both of these games. We have to beat Queens tomorrow, and we have to beat North Al in Florence this Friday in order to secure a solid seed in this ASUN Conference tournament for a better chance of bringing home the hardware. Now, speaking of bringing home the hardware.
Oh, yeah.
Our men's golf team
Let's talk about
this past weekend went on down to Savannah, Georgia, in the Savannah Intercollegiate Classic and took home first place overall and made history as the first men's UWG golf team to win a title in the Division I era.
Yes.
Go ahead, Schrader.
Dude, this is so great personally because I'm good friends with one of the golfers, Tyler Neshy, the Aussie, and seeing him today and just seeing how much this means, 1, to the program, but 2, to the school.
Yep.
They didn't just play some JUCO schools down there. They played some pretty darn good schools, and they got the dub. They put the dub in West Jeezy. All right, they made it look easy. Rhyming today, man, rhyming. But yeah, it was just a great win for the guys, and I can't wait to see what the rest of this season has, because if this is how we're kicking it off, we're going to make some noise in the ASUN, period. And I'm pumped to see that, and I think we got a great squad.
I'm proud of these boys, to be honest. I mean, I didn't think much of the golf team until they got that win just this weekend. And I saw that email come over my West Georgia, and they're like, hey, West Georgia golf team wins. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But, no, I'm really proud of these boys, the way they battled. And, they're up there. They gave themselves a chance on the last day, and they came through.
Yeah, they went out and made it happen. I was extremely excited to see that. Now, jumping back over to the hardwood, our men's basketball team is in the last week of regular season as well. They have 2 home games to close it out, with this Wednesday being a home game versus Lipscomb University. Team that we played earlier has one of the ASUN's leading scorers on the team, right up there with Shelton. Should be a very entertaining offensive game against Lipscomb. And then rounding out the season on a Saturday, which I'm pretty sure, is senior day, versus the University of North Alabama. Keyshawn, I want to kick it right over to you. Well, we're looking at this West Georgia Wolves men's team. It's been a very up and down season. We've talked about that ad nauseum throughout our past few shows. Currently sitting at 12-16 overall, 6-10 in conference play, and on a 3-game losing streak. What needs to happen in these 2 games in order to win this game? In order to end this season on a 2-game winning streak?
At this point, it's just you're just out there playing for pride right now. Like you mentioned, you're on a 3-game losing streak. At this point, you kind of have nothing to lose. You go out there, you let it fly, you play with all energy, and it's time for those players that didn't really get much playing time early on throughout the season. It's time to make a spark now, because if I'm the coach, I'm trying everything. I'm emptying the bench, see what we have. Tossing some of these young guys, see what they could do. You have 2 games left in the season. You're on a 3-game losing streak. You're 6-10 in the conference. That 3-game losing streak hurt it very badly. That pushed their playoffs, their ASUN tourney opportunities back a little bit. So they got a little bit more things to fight in order to get in that tournament, and a lot of scenarios must happen in order for them to compete.
It's been a fantastic basketball season here at the University of West Georgia, and the regular season is starting to wind down. Be sure to support our teams throughout this week. Like I said, our girls will be on the road both games. If you have ESPN Plus, be sure to tune in and cheer them on. And if you're around campus, be sure to show up to both men's games this Wednesday and this Friday to support our guys as they look to right the ship at the end of the season. Now, moving on to the Diamond, our baseball team is a bit of a rough batch, to say the least. Currently sitting at 1-7 overall, and after this past weekend, after suffering 3 losses this past weekend on the road in Little Rock, Arkansas, we're currently on a 7-game losing streak with a trip to Auburn, Alabama this coming Wednesday versus the 7th-ranked Auburn Tigers. Yes, that is right. Auburn is the number 7 team in the nation. What are you guys expecting from that game?
Yeah.
Show up.
That was a bad question, wasn't it? That was a setup.
Let me say something. I think we can hang with them in the first inning if our pitchers do well. But
assuming it starts off at 0-0.
Yeah, but assuming. But
we'll get a good half inning on them.
I know we talked about last week that I felt like we were going to sweep Little Rock, but
you did say that.
That didn't happen. Our pitching didn't show up. So maybe if our pitching shows up for maybe the first 2 innings, it will be closer than it's going to be, but I think it's not going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about these guys on Thursday going into this series against Little Rock, and I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty sure all 4 of us thought that we were going to walk in there and clean sweep them, bring out the brooms, and we got swept, and it wasn't pretty. And now we got to go play Auburn in the Plains, and that's not easy for anybody. I mean, my Florida State Seminoles they lost to Auburn on neutral site. Who knows what's going to happen to us when we got to go there? I mean, hopefully they can play just a solid game, limit the runs, just somebody. Just don't give up like 5 runs per inning, maybe. Bats go crazy if they can. Hope for a miracle. Maybe get a Disney movie out of
limit
it.
the walks, I guess. Limit the walks in pitching. Don't give them any free opportunities.
Just win the baseball game.
Right. That's a great way to put it.
Or at least make it competitive. At least give yourself a chance.
Yeah, and going to the other side here, our softball team is also in action this week. They're currently sitting at 5-11 overall. Went 1-4 this weekend, but ended the weekend off with a win against Loyola Chicago yesterday morning in Mobile, Alabama, 3-2. Like I said, they'll be in action tomorrow at 5 p.m. versus Jacksonville State. And if you just so happen to go to that game, be sure to support us here at Wolf Sports Network by swinging by Waffle House after the fact to support our Spirit Night. Now, we're going to take a quick ad break, but don't go anywhere because when we get back, we're going to talk about the NFL Combine and a few prospects we feel could really make themselves a lot of money with a good performance in Indianapolis. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
April 9th, 2026. Wolfstock, the event of the year. Bring your friends and family out for fun games, prizes, and most importantly, good music from local artists. But why trust me? Because my name is Bliss, and I'll be performing at Wolfstock 2026, and I hope to see you there. Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
We're favored to make the playoffs. I don't care what anybody says.
Man. All this sports talk is making me kind of hungry. I really could go for an all-star special right now.
Oh yeah, did somebody say all-star special? Well, lucky for you, Wolf Sports Network is hosting a spirit night at the Maple Street Waffle House on February 24th from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is a chance for you to come out and support our station and maybe even grab yourself the all-star special that I know you're craving. And remember, the Wolves play here.
WSN, Wolf Sports Network, will have you covered this West Georgia basketball season with Inside the Coliseum, our 30-minute pregame show that will start 1 hour before select home games.
But we saw his ability to make those tough shots. He is a shooter, and he was second in scoring behind Shelton Williams-Dryden.
I think we just need to get everybody the ball as much as possible. I think we need to throw the rock around.
Join us as we cover both the men's and women's basketball seasons from Inside the Coliseum.
Wait a minute. Is this what I think it is? Wii Sports? Let's try something. Let me tell you all about this show on Wolf Sports Network. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. It's the playbook. Hear us talk about all of college football, basketball, and baseball. Mondays from 9 to 10 p.m. The Playbook on Wolf Sports Network.
Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to help reduce the 21% of adults with low literacy skills. We are collecting new and gently used books for every UWG pre-K student monthly. Give today by visiting thewolfuwg.com/bookdrive. That's thewolfuwg.com/bookdrive.
In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty. We mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show here, but it feels like the Super Bowl just passed by.
It's draft season, baby.
And we are already back talking about football.
I love it.
I love it. Woo! I love my life. I love my life. And like I said, we're right here. Like Keyshawn said, I should say, we're right here at draft season. The combine starts this week. It is getting better and better as every single day goes on. Life is becoming worth living again because we're getting closer and closer to football season. And as we get closer, like we said, the draft process is huge here and changing the lives of a lot of young men that are transitioning from college football to the NFL. And a massive moment in this draft process is going out to Indianapolis to participate in the draft combine. This is where we've seen a lot of people fly up draft boards, with an extreme example being DK Metcalf, but a lot of others as well with good performances in Indianapolis. So before they start live drills, I want to kick it out to you guys first and see, are there any prospects you have in mind that with a great performance in Indianapolis could see themselves flying up draft boards?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldog, Zachariah Branch. I believe that he just wasn't utilized well at the University of Georgia, which isn't really putting his name out there as big as, like Caleb Downs, all these guys from Ohio State and bigger places. But I think if he can really show his route running at the combine and show how good he really can be, I think without that, maybe late first round, early second round, but I think he can really move up the draft boards.
I agree 100% when it comes to Zachariah Branch because, like you said, he wasn't utilized to his fullest potential at the University of Georgia. Now, he had over 800 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns.
He was utilized.
But a lot of it was screen passes and the typical Mike Bobo mush offense.
Special, baby.
But when you look back at what he did at USC, even what he did some in the spring game, I was in attendance and saw him, he used to push the ball down the field with elite route running and speed downfield, running those deep and intermediate routes. We didn't see a lot of that at Georgia, but we did see a lot of success with him being used as a gadget player. So I'm with you 100%, Ryan. If we can see him kind of get out there in Indianapolis, show off that top-end speed we know he has, and get out there and run real-deal routes that aren't just screen passes in front of those scouts, I feel like that could really benefit his draft stock.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the defensive side of the board this time. I'm going to go towards a familiar name, Avion Terrell, a local kid from Atlanta. He was very scrappy, man-to-man guy, can play inside and out. He could tackle. He's very physical. I believe he had at least 4 forced fumbles this season, which is very high for a defensive back. Mm-hmm. His only downfall is he just doesn't have the size that his brother has. His brother's more 6'1", towards 200-pound side. He's more 5'11", 180. Yeah. So, if his testing is going to be very important, he's going to have to run fast, jump high. That's very important for those smaller DBs. So, he's listed as a late first-round guy. Towards the back end, 25 and below. But I think if he could test well, he could run fast, jump high. He compete in the on-field drills and really shine there and, make great catches. I think he could go up as high as a top 20 pick, maybe even close to top 15 because there's a lot of CB needed teams in the draft. So I think, in a deep draft class that it is in that position, I think if he perform well at the draft, he could fly up the boards.
Yeah, somebody that I have on my board just as an ACC guy watching the league, Desmond Reed out of Pitt, the running back. He's not very big. He's 5'8", 175 pounds. He's not a big guy, which is going to cause him to be overlooked, but he's explosive. If you watched any of his tape, not only is he a great runner in open field, but he adds a dimension to the passing game that a lot of NFL teams are really going to be looking for. So I think that if he has a good showing at the combine, he just shows that heart over height kind of mentality that he can rise up the draft boards, especially for teams that are in that spot where, you're like the Seahawks. What are they going to do with Kenneth Walker? Are they going to bring him back or do they not want to pay that money? This is a guy that you could get for pretty cheap pretty, I don't know, maybe second, third round of the draft.
Yeah.
And he can have an instant impact on your team. And I think this is where you find some of the most value in the draft, too, is guys like this. But I think a great combine showing by Desmond Reed out of Pitt is it's going to shoot his stock up.
I think you could be right about Desmond, about him at Pitt, because he did a very good season. Pitt had a very good team overall.
Mm-hmm.
And at times, especially in that Georgia Tech game, he really stepped up to the plate and shined on the big stage. He's definitely a really good player. I'm going to be a little selfish here, guys. I got two people that I'm really excited about, both with the initials DB, funny enough, but neither of them play defensive back. First one I want to go with, and I'll be brief with this one, is Texas Tech's edge rusher David Bailey. Yeah. He is a freak of nature, had 14.5 sacks this season, 3 forced fumbles, and I'm only mentioning him because I know a lot of people didn't see him until the playoff game against Oregon. And a lot of people were really blinded by the fact that Oregon just kind of dominated them and shut down the Texas Tech offense. But David Bailey was obliterating the entire Oregon offensive line the entire game. And if you go back and watch the rest of Texas Tech's games, he did that all season. He is not just he's a game breaker. He's more than a game changer. When he's on, he is a game breaker. He's 6'3", 250, got long arms, the kind of things you look for when you're looking at an edge rusher. Long arms are extremely important for edge rushers. So those are the intangibles that you typically look for. Got the production, 14.5 sacks. Saw him do it in big games. I think once he gets in front of those NFL scouts, some scouts that probably didn't watch him before that Oregon game, he's going to wow them with his freakish athleticism, and we could see him fly up draft boards. He's already projected now to be a top 15 lock, but I think with a good draft process, he could go as high as number 2 overall to the New York Jets. Another guy I'm looking at is Denzel Boston from the University of Washington. 6'4" wide receiver, had 881 yards, 11 touchdowns, averaged 14.2 yards per catch. He's a freak. He's not like a top-end talent like the other guys in this draft class, like a Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson, Casey Concepcion. He's somewhere around that range. But when you look at him, he can outright ball. Yep. He's a big receiver, so you know he's going to win those 50-50 balls, make it more like a 70-30 with him lined up against smaller DBs. He uses his weight well. He weighs in around 210, 215. We'll see where he weighs in the combine. But he also has great speed. Washington used to use him a lot as a punt returner, so you know he has that breakaway ability. He can run deep routes, run short, run intermediate. I think he's the kind of guy that any team will look to add, especially when they're looking for a receiver to add some depth to the receiver room. Look at a team like the Cleveland Browns, who are looking to add more weapons to that young core they're building. With Todd Monken as their offensive coordinator, Denzel Boston could be just a late first-round pick they're looking for.
Super Bowl bound.
Yeah.
Okay, that was too much.
Don't get him started.
That was too much.
And another guy a name that I want to throw out as well, which is kind of weird. It doesn't sound right, but Iowa's quarterback, Mark Gronowski, since the bowl game and the Senior Bowl, that man has been flying up draft boards, it's weird because, like, Iowa quarterback, they don't do that. They run the ball and they punt the ball. Those are the two things they're known for. But he has played fantastic ball. He's a great game manager. He's a lot like a Brock Purdy kind of archetype, and that's something that you could see, man. He goes into this combine, he shows out. Like, he has the talent. He won national championships at North Dakota State.
He did.
Yeah, I mean, that's just another name that I wanted to throw out there as well.
And that really serves as a great transition, though, because when you're looking at this draft class, a lot of other position groups are deep. Defensive line, super deep. Receiver has a lot of good talent at the top end of the draft, even scattered throughout with guys like Jeremy Bernard and Omar Cooper from Indiana. But when you're looking at one position, it's really lackluster. It's quarterback. Mm-hmm. Everybody has Fernando Mendoza going number 1 overall to the Raiders. I've heard a few people, myself included, talk about the Raiders maybe trading back, but everybody pretty much agrees that Fernando Mendoza is going number 1. When we're looking at the rest of the class here, you mentioned the guy from Iowa. You got people throwing around names like Ty Simpson and Carson Beck. Do you all think there's a chance that another quarterback sneaks into the first round here?
I think you can make an argument for Ty Simpson, and I say that because you got a lot of QB teams that are, they're in these situations where they have to make a move now, right? Because they've been lackluster for these past decades. Franchise, they aren't being patient with coaches anymore, right? So they need a guy now. Ty Simpson, he had a strong coming into the season, but towards the back end of the season, his production kind of dropped a little bit. That kind of pushed him out of the first round a bit, But I think with the strong performance in the combine, and it teams like the Jets at the 21st pick, or even the Steelers late on in the first round, back into the first round, I think maybe he could sneak in. But other than Ty Simpson, I don't really see another name that could sneak first round.
Even getting Ty Simpson first round, I still think it's a little greedy.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is just a weird draft because of how deep almost every other position is, and then just a lack of that in the quarterback position. But I think this is a great draft for teams like the Falcons, where you're trying to find something at quarterback, whether you go get a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo or Jacoby Brissett in free agency, or you look maybe second, third round, probably third round, but like guys like Trinidad Chambliss. Maybe
he got the waiver. He's playing at Ole Miss.
You're right.
Yeah.
He did get the judge did
but
that.
Carson Beck counts for that as well, though.
Yeah, but like Carson Beck, Ty Simpson, Gronowski. Like I was saying, he's rising up draft boards. I don't think he's going in the first round. I think a lot of these teams are going to go maybe more towards the trenches, skill positions, because there's so much talent in this draft class. But honestly, I don't know if I really see another quarterback going in the first round that wouldn't make me go, whoa.
Yeah, the only argument I'll listen to is if somebody mentions the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are probably going to get a little desperate at quarterback here with Aaron Rodgers likely retiring, or maybe the LA Rams because they have 2 first-round picks, maybe getting Ty Simpson at 29 for the to kind of make him the future once Matthew Stafford retires. But even then, I think it's greedy for the same point you just gave, Schrader. This draft is so deep at every other position. Even if you're a team like Pittsburgh, you could go out and sign a guy like Jacoby Brissett, maybe give Malik Willis some money, bring in a Mac Jones just to keep the ship afloat. But spend this draft stacking up at every other position. That way, next season, when you're going into a draft class that is rich at the quarterback position, where we have as many as 5, maybe even 6 quarterbacks that might be mocked as potential first-round picks, then now them quarterbacks have a team to come into that already has a bit of an infrastructure in place.
Yeah.
The Jets have 2 first-round picks this cycle. I think they could easily go stack up their defense as well as stacking up the offensive line. That way, whatever quarterback they potentially end up drafting next cycle actually has something to work with instead of just getting a box of scraps. So I think this is the perfect draft class to maybe step away from the quarterback position and build up the rest of your team so that the future quarterback that you draft doesn't just come in there and get killed like Cam Ward did in Tennessee.
Just play the long game.
I like
I agree with, what all y'all said. It's weird that there's so much depth in every other position besides the quarterback position, because you would think that's the place that has the most depth. But, I agree with both you, Schrader, Keyshawn. I just really don't see anybody else going in the first round. I mean, Carson Beck had a heck of a playoff run, but I just don't think it's enough to put him in the first round. Maybe Ty Simpson, like Keyshawn said, but I just don't see him.
Yeah.
I feel like Carson Beck could find his way going into a pretty solid team as like a 3rd, 4th round pick. Maybe end up on the Rams, back up Matthew Stafford. They can kind of take a look at him and see if they want him to be that guy in the future. If not, they can move off of him and draft a guy next year and just kind of have him and that guy compete. Who knows? But before we move out of this NFL segment, I want to mention one team here. Because as I was filling out my first pre-combine mock draft in class today, instead of doing my work, I noticed one team has a golden opportunity to really kind of shift the narrative around. That team being the Dallas Cowboys. They currently sit with 2 first-round picks, their own pick at 12, but they also had the 20th overall pick that they got from Green Bay when they shipped off Micah Parsons. They strengthened up that interior defensive line. It was solid at the end of the season. They brought in Jadeveon Clowney, who ended up making a pretty big impact as an edge rusher for them, but their defense still wasn't good enough to make a playoff push. But this gives them the perfect opportunity to do just that. This draft is extremely deep. They can go corner at 12, either get Mansour Delane from LSU or Jermon McCoy from Tennessee. Either one of those corners, I think they're cornerback 1A and 1B in this draft class. I think they're both plug and play, good guys. They got good size, good hips. They're both going to be very good NFL corners. Dallas can go out and get one of those guys. And then at 20 overall, find a way to get one of these edge rushers. Whether it's one of the guys from Texas A&M or it's Mansour, Akeem Mesidor, from the University of Miami, that was Reuben Baines' running mate. Find a way to get double up at corner and edge rusher in this first round. I think the Dallas Cowboys can turn the entire narrative around and be a team that's competing for the NFC East.
I want to agree with you, but the Dallas Cowboys just historically just have made it to the playoffs, but just choked. I mean,
Dude, it's one of my favorite holidays.
I mean, but that's the thing, though. The past few years, they haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's not about them winning the Super Bowl based off what they do in this draft. It's just about finding a way to get back into the postseason. And when I look at this draft class with these 2 first-round picks and a ton of very talented pro-rated defensive players, I think the Cowboys can fix all their issues in one first round.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think kind of what you're saying is subjective. I mean, it will be funny when they lose in the conference championship game or in the divisional round like they always do. But, yeah, it's a really simple fix. Now, will Jerry do it the right way? Because it is Jerry Jones. Got it. Will he get the right guys? But, I mean, they've been good at drafting. They have. Looks like they're going to franchise tag Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
so
offense is still there.
The offense, I mean, Dak Prescott quietly was one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL this last year. And so you got a guy playing like that. You just, honestly, fix the secondary, dude. That secondary was atrocious almost all year. You fix the secondary, you're going to be looking really good in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I mean, they double dip here on defense. You know, when that 11 pick come around, if the edges fly off the board, you don't like what's left, hey, you look at Sonny Styles, beef up that defense. And then with your second pick and the 20th pick, I think you go corner as well. You know, you get one of these guys in the back and you get a Brandon Cisse, you get a Colton Hood out of Tennessee. Yep. Or, you know, even if, like I said, if Avion Terrell tests well, maybe he could, you know, go there. So, I mean, honestly, they just have to double dip on defense. The offense was there. You're getting Pickens back. You have CeeDee Lamb. You just signed Javonte Williams. You have Dak Prescott. You know, fix up the defense. I think they can make a strong playoff push next year.
You know what? I take it back. I do agree with you, Richard. You know, I do.
I'm pretty easy. I'm pretty easy to agree with.
It's just it's hard for me.
Don't do this to us,
Schrader, you said it.
Don't do this to
I just can't wait.
If I'm right, I'm right. I mean, don't just sit here and keep playing. You know.
I can't wait for them just to lose in the divisional rounds of the conference championships. You know.
It's not hurting my feelings. I'm not a Cowboys fan. It actually hurt me more to vouch for them than anything else. But what can I say, man? I'm excited for football. I think we're all excited for football. And we'll be right back here on Thursday reviewing everything that we've learned of the combine up to that point. But until then, Ryan, we got more sports to talk about. The Winter Olympics wrapped up yesterday, it did so in dramatic fashion, with your U.S. men's hockey team going and bringing home gold against our foes from up north. Schrader, I know you feel really strongly about this 2-1 overtime win against Canada. Walk us through it.
I mean, first of all, if y'all want to hear a joke, you ready? Canada. That's the joke. Right? No, this was I've been telling myself that all day, and it's made me laugh every single time. This was just such a great win. Just as a hockey fan, I'm a big U.S. national team fan when it comes to hockey, and Canada about broke my heart last year in the Four Nations tournament, and I've had to hear it. I've had to hear how this is Canada's game, honestly, for a very long time. But now that we got to play them best on best, and not only that, but we got one of the best hockey games I've watched in a long time, which is only fitting, right? What was it, 46 years to the date of the miracle that we get to beat Canada in overtime, just break their hearts, bring gold home. The boys were playing just such fun, great hockey, and it's great to see, one, Canada in shambles, and two, the game growing even more in the States. And I think that this is America's game now, and I think it's going to stay that way for years to come.
Absolutely. I'm at the agree. And like you said, it's spreading awareness to the sport in the U.S. because I'm a fan of it now. I never knew anything about hockey until this year. You know, it was a tense, classic battle between two of the compelling rivalries, USA and Canada. You know, a phenomenal performance by the goalie, Connor. I'm going to get this last name wrong, but Hellebuck with a spectacular 41 for 42 shots, the most in a gold medal game of all time. He absolutely performed. He dominated. He came in clutch, you know, didn't let that one goal stop him. You know, Jack Hughes with a dramatic overtime goalie to secure the win. So this is a great performance by USA. First gold medal in 46 years. So it was never a great opponent to do it against other than Canada, their rivalries. Twice, yeah, twice in the same year. Both our women's and our men's scored gold medal against Canada. Yeah. So, you know, great day to be an American. True patriot.
It is definitely a great day to be an American. You know, it's just great.
Right, okay.
It's great. I give it to you, Schrader. Both games, we got to break Canada's heart and just take it away from them, man.
Keep saying
it just gets me going, man.
Dude, but I could tell.
But listen. The USA hockey, it's our sport now. It's ours. It's ours. Caw-caw!
And with that gold medal in men's hockey, wait, go ahead, Schrader. You had something else?
I was just gonna say, that picture of Jack Hughes with the busted lip, chipped tooth, American flag on his shoulders, like, if that don't get you going,
America.
It was incredible. And with that final win, with the U.S. winning gold in U.S. hockey, and men's hockey, that brought our gold medal total to 33, which was second place in the entire event, in the entire Winter Olympics, only behind Norway, who had 41 gold medals.
Yeah, but they don't count because it's always cold. They don't have anything else to do.
But I do have to tip my cap to the Norwegians because 6 of those 41 gold medals were won by Johannes Klæbo. He was incredible. I watched him run the skiathon a couple days ago. It was phenomenal. He went 6 for 6, winning all gold medals in every single event he competed in. He was incredible. He is in second place in Olympic history, 4 gold medals won, only behind the one and only Michael Phelps. He has, just put in reference here, Klæbo has 11 career gold medals, and Michael Phelps has 23. Just shows how great of an athlete Michael Phelps is. The greatest, arguably the greatest of our generation. But Klæbo was incredible as well, winning gold in the skiathon, the sprint, individual skiing event, mass start, and 2 different relay events. He was obviously the star of the Winter Olympics. But the U.S. teams did great as well. Not to take any credit away from our guys. Now, moving forward into the association, the NBA season is back underway, as Ryan frequently reminds us with his Cleveland Cavaliers recently adding James Harden. They were also in action last night where they took on one of the best teams in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they fell short 121 to 113.
Yeah, I don't think we lost that game. I think it was the officials. I'm just going to go
well outright. On the stat sheet it says y'all lost.
Can we just call this little segment just the Cleveland show?
No,
that's what it's turning into. Fast.
Listen, I was watching the game, and okay, Thunder, they don't miss from 3-point range.
They're a great
miss.
team.
They were shot after shot after shot. They were making them. Props to that. But there was some questionable calls on that they called not called on Cleveland, where there's some clear just going after him. And
we got to get you using more words.
Donovan Mitchell even said after the game that, wow, those guys foul. And there's been rumors that the Thunder do exactly that, and they don't get the calls for it.
Well, every team fouls, but go ahead.
I love you, Ryan. And I've also played pickup basketball with you, and I know your reputation with fouls. Contact layup does not mean it's a foul. I just need to make sure that's known. You can let him play through a little contact.
It's crystal clear, and him on the court is one thing. But I think every fan of any NBA team walks away from every game that they lose saying that a few calls go their way, it'll be a little different. So I'm taking what you're saying with a grain of salt. I watched the game. I just thought you got straight up outplayed by the Thunder, but maybe that's just me. Looking forward to tonight, though. We have a big-time matchup between 2 powerhouses, 2 teams with just about identical records that are both looking to make a NBA Finals push this year. The 40-16 San Antonio Spurs going on the road to Detroit to take on the 42-13 Detroit Pistons. Keyshawn, I want to start with you here. When you look at this matchup, which side are you leaning towards?
It's kind of tough. You have two top teams and in their respective conferences. Both on winning streaks, both got MVP caliber stars. So it's kind of tough to kind of pick which team I think will win this one. But I had the Pistons winning the last game, and they answered that wish for me. So I'm gonna go with them again. Cade Cunningham, he's last game I predicted he came out, had 40 points. So I'm expecting him to do it again. It's a top matchup between him and Wembanyama. So whoever outshines the other, I think that's who come out with the dub. But I like Cade over Wemby.
Yeah, you just said it, Keyshawn. I think this is Wembanyama versus Cunningham. You got Jalen Duran.
He's back.
I was about to say the real matchup is down low. Jalen Duran versus
Wembanyama. So I think
that helps.
It really just depends on how they play, in a sense. But I'm gonna take probably the Pistons here. But I think it's gonna be close.
It's tough.
Nah, I'm going with the Spurs here. 2 really good teams, East-West matchup. It's always fun to watch that, but I'm not going to lie. Every time I just see Wembanyama, I'm just in awe. That's just a freak of nature.
Oh, yeah.
And he's good at basketball. Like,
that's the thing too.
That really helps them.
That's a cherry on top.
Yeah, so I really like the way the Spurs play. I just like the Spurs. Always have. They've been a great team, but also the Pistons have been winning a little too much. I think the Spurs are going to stop that.
I agree with you. I think the Pistons are kind of due for a loss here. It's going to be a very competitive game. I think the Spurs are going to get it done. You got Victor Wembanyama, you got Stephon Castle, you got De'Aaron Fox, you got Dylan Harper as well. I mean, this is a very talented and deep Spurs team that's going to play very deep into the summer, making a pretty good playoff run. But both of these teams are. They're both extremely talented. Jalen Duren down low is going to do his best to give Wemby some trouble in what could be a big-time preview for the Olympics in LA 2028. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. This is going to be a good game tonight. I'm going to lean the Spurs here, but I expect a very competitive matchup between two of the best teams in the entire NBA. It's going to be great to see. College students who binge drink alcohol at least 3 times per week are roughly 6 times more likely to perform poorly on a test or project because of drinking. That is why Dream City Brewing Company has joined forces with Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio to proudly remind you to drink responsibly. No matter what you're doing, whether you're over 21 or not, be sure to drink responsibly in an environment that discourages overindulging. Faculty won't take hangovers as excuses. Now, we're going to take a quick ad break, but when we return, we're going to dive into the world of college basketball and get you all caught up so you can be ready to make your bracket come March. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
When you think about college sports, what do you think of?
Campus legends like Haynes King and Diego Pavia.
What if I told you there was a show for that and more?
More?
Playbook is your one-stop listen for college football, basketball, baseball, and UWG sports.
The Bulldogs have Ryan Nemhard, a great point guard, and they are going yard. Gonzaga in 5.
Tune into the Playbook Mondays from 9 to 10 p.m. only on Wolf Sports Network.
The Playbook is your home for West Georgia sports this spring from University Stadium.
And we saw a very well put together offense that was trailing and going into the half and then comes out in the third quarter and puts themselves up.
To the Coliseum.
We're finishing well at the rim, being aggressive, being physical. A lot of guys are touching the rock. It's been a great start for the Wolves.
And Cole Field.
I hope West Georgia wins. I'm going to be rooting for West Georgia tomorrow.
The Playbook, live every Monday from 9 to 10 p.m.
Tune in to Wolf Sports Network throughout the week to hear the very best in UWG sports coverage. Catch live shows, score updates, and breaking news all week long. But sometimes seeing really is believing. And now you can watch your favorite Wolf Sports Network shows live on YouTube. Follow at Wolf Sports Network on YouTube as we bring you into the studio with your favorite shows and personalities. Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
What's up? This is Parker Andell, and I'm the newest voice of Sports Out of Pocket. Step into Lucky Season 7, where the odds are in our favor. Crazy insights, hidden stories, and conversations that will pay off every single time. With a fresh season and a fresh voice, Lucky Sevens is here. Tune in to Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 6, only on Wolf Sports Network.
It's a new semester here at West Georgia, and that means a brand new season of Sports Out of Pocket.
I love Jameis Winston to death, but look at the guy. Like, come on, that's not the veteran quarterback that I want to be. He's a locker room guy.
They got Jonathan Taylor back there. It's like having Saquon, just a little bit worse, but it's like having Saquon.
Tune in to Season 7 of Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 6, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to help reduce the 21% of adults with low literacy skills. We're collecting new and gently used books for every UWG pre-K student monthly. Give today by visiting thewolfuwg.com/book drive. That is thewolfuwg.com/book drive. It's another Monday here in the world of college basketball, and with that means there's a new AP poll. And with it being 2026, it means that there's a new team sitting atop said AP poll, with the Duke Blue Devils currently sitting with a record of 25-2, sitting as the number 1 team in the country after a massive 68-63 win over the Michigan Wolverines this past weekend. The game itself was incredible. Yaxel Lindenborg did what he does for Michigan, scoring 21 points with 7 rebounds to go along with it, but it was not enough. Led by 18 points from Cameron Boozer, the Cameron Crazies walked right into DC and took the number 1 ranking with them. Duke was extremely impressive this past Saturday, Keyshawn.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, they snapped Michigan's 11-game win streak, and Duke's defense was the story of that game. They left Michigan with a 40% field goal percentage. That is a season low for them. They shot 6 for 23 from 3, so the defense really stepped in good. Michigan averaged 41 points in the first half. They had 41 points in the paint. They only had 24, and Michigan only gives up 25 points coming in, and Duke had 34. So, everything for Michigan kind of just collapsed in that second half. They tried to keep it close towards the first half, but, Duke stretched out the lead. They maintained it. They didn't let Michigan crawl back into it. So, Cameron Boozer showed up. Isaiah Evans played his part. Everyone kind of played a role into it. So, Duke's looking very good. They're sitting at the number 1 spot, well-deserving, and, making a very strong resume going into the standings in March Madness tournament. So, if they could keep on winning out, I think they finish as the number 1 and, get a great seed in towards the tournament.
Now, just to look at the bigger picture here,
Yep.
there have been a lot of great games going on around the country. We've talked a lot about Arizona, deservingly so, because they've been one of the better teams in the country all year. We've also talked a lot about the Big 12 because their conference, up and down, is the best conference in college basketball. But, Ryan, when we look at the entire tournament picture here, what team has consistently impressed you the most?
I think after this week, I think it's BYU. I mean, they went. I mean, they were at home, but they beat a number 6 Iowa State Cyclones team that their defense is phenomenal. Right. I mean, I remember watching them the other week, and it seemed like nothing was getting past them besides some lucky little hook shots. So to go on to at home beat them by not just close but by 10, that's a pretty good statement there.
The only thing that kind of holds me up about this BYU team is because they're very talented. A.J. DeBonce is a freak. This past weekend against Iowa State, arguably the best defense in the country, he had 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. He's a lock to go top 3. You can argue top 1, but he's a top 3 pick no matter what. The only thing with BYU, Ryan, is they do not have a consistent second option. And those big games that we've seen them drop throughout Big 12 play, A.J. has stepped up to the plate. It's just about getting the guys around him to step up and be willing and be able to make those big shots when need be to take a little bit of pressure off of him. Because he can drop 50 points, 60 points even, but if the rest of the team doesn't show up, they're not going to win games.
Yeah, I'm at the agree. I mean, Robert Wright, he seemed to be that guy, throughout the stretch of the season. But honestly, it's really just not enough, and I have to question their big man play as well. The glass is kind of, that's kind of been their factor because they've been dropping multiple games recently to these top 10 ranked teams. And, outside of AJ DeBonske and maybe Robert Wright at the point guard, they really don't have another guy that they could really go through, a really spot-up shooter or, somebody who could come off the bench and create a spark when those two guys are on the court. So if they could find another option, I think they could make a strong push in the tournament.
So, Keyshawn, real quick before we get to Schrader, when you just named a lot of things that lead to a team being very successful in March. When thinking of those intangibles, what teams do you think of that have those things in place that could lead to them making a really deep run?
The obvious pick, I'm gonna say Arizona. I think they had a very good weekend as well. They bounced back from those two straight losses as well. But another team I have to go with, I'm gonna have to choose Texas Tech. They've been playing pretty valley. They're missing JT Toppin. He's out for the season with the Achilles injury or ACL injury, but he's gone. So, they're really going to have to find another option to create a spark, especially down low, because he was their go-to big man guy. He was creating inside the paint and outside. He can shoot the 3 as well as defend in the paint. So, now they're looking for a second option, the guy to really come up and step in his place. So if they could find that option, somebody with a similar skill set who could stretch the ball a little bit, I think they'd be fine as well.
Yeah, so I was going to say Arizona, which is why Keyshawn made a great pivot there to Texas Tech. But yeah, I think Arizona is a great team, and obviously we've kind of talked about them. They're a very balanced team.
Right.
And taking those 2 back-to-back losses to Kansas and Texas Tech, it seemed like, whoa, the wind was taken out of their sails. They've fallen back to earth. Then they caught themselves, and they got a great win against BYU, and then they got a crazy win against Houston on Saturday, which kind of says, hey, we're right back here. We didn't go anywhere, which is why I do think that Arizona is one of the best teams equipped for March.
When I look at the landscape, there are a lot of good teams on here. Florida recently made their way back into the top 10 after winning a national championship last year. They've really gotten their act together. They are a really good team coming out of the SEC. Hands down, the best team coming out of the SEC right now. But as I look around the rest of the landscape here, one team continues to get my attention, and a lot of people are not talking about them. It is the 6th-ranked UConn Huskies. They're currently sitting at 25-3, second in the Big East, only behind St. John's, who is 22-5 overall, coached by Rick Pitino. They're a really good team as well. Another team I really thought about going with. It's a down year in the Big East as a whole, so that kind of knocks the resumes of St. John's and UConn. But we all know at this table that both of these teams are extremely well coached, hard-nosed basketball teams with very solid depth, and either one of them can make a deep run into March. When I look at one of them to do it, I think it's going to be UConn. They've got the depth. They've got the guy that in solo ball that can step up and make big shots when needed, and obviously they're well coached. We've seen this team win back-to-back championships not too long ago. I think a lot of people need to remember that UConn is still a powerhouse in this race.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember talking maybe just 2 shows ago, I believe, I chose UConn as one of those guys that need to be watched, and you said it. They continue to impress. They continue to win games, even no matter who they're playing. They do very well. So, yeah, I like that pick.
Now, looking forward to tonight, we have 2 big-time games and 2 big-time conferences. The ACC, which is starting to kind of gather its bearings, like you mentioned a little while ago during the break, Schrader, has 2 top 25 teams squaring off tonight. The 24th-ranked 20-7 Louisville Cardinals going on the road to Chapel Hill to take on the 18th-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels, who are currently moving forward without their superstar and potential lottery pick, Caleb Wilson. Keyshawn, I want to start with you. Who you like in this matchup and why?
Despite North Carolina being 15-0 at home, I think Louisville's going to come in and, get the win. Like you said, Caleb Wilson, he's done. He's their main guy. He's their main scorer. They have Vesar back, so, that kind of put a little patch in the injury. But, Michael Brown Jr. from Louisville, he's been balling. He's been coming in. He can do it inside and out. He could facilitate throughout. He's their main go-to guy. So if he could come in and dominate and, kind of abuse that message of Caleb Wilson that North Carolina is missing on both sides of the ball, I think he could come in and have a really good game. If he comes out and make a splash very fast in the first half, they create a lead and stretch that throughout the remainder of the game, I think they could come out with the win.
Yeah, I mean, Chapel Hill's a tough place to play, and even if Wilson's out, right, I think that gives Louisville a reason to think that they got this one. I think they see North Carolina as a team that's down, but I think they're still walking into their house. Chapel Hill's not an easy place to play, especially if that crowd's behind them, which they will be. And I think this is going to be a spot where North Carolina's going to be able to catch Louisville kind of slacking a little bit. So I'm going to go North Carolina.
I completely agree with you, Schrader. I know that Wilson is out.
Love this guy.
But you said it. North Carolina is a very, very tough place to play. Even without their star, I think Louisville, as you said, it literally took the words out of my mouth, that Louisville is going to think that, oh, we got this, their star's out. But no, I think North Carolina is going to put up a fight, and I think they're going to win this one.
I want to say the same thing for North Carolina as well, because this could be a great point for them to really step up to the plate when a lot of people are counting them out. Without Caleb Wilson, and have the rest of those stars on that team really make names for themselves and show that we are more than just one player here, which they are. It's going to be a very competitive game. They're going to have home court behind them. The crowd's going to be into it. Those guys are going to be motivated. But I'm with Keyshawn here. Michael Brown Jr. is a dog. The 6'5 freshman is averaging over 18 points a game. And this Louisville team, when they're on, can kill you from multiple different directions. It's not just Michael Brown. It's Ryan Conwell as well. It's Isaac McKinley as well. It's Javon Hadley as well. I mean, this is a team that can attack you from so many different ways when they're on. And I think they're going to go in to Chapel Hill with a newfound confidence with Caleb Wilson not being there and realize this is a great opportunity for them to get a big-time marquee in-conference win to try to get a little bit better seeding in the ACC conference tournament. So I'm going to go with Louisville here to take down the Tar Heels. But I do think when Caleb Wilson gets healthy again, North Carolina could end up being a sleeper team in the tournament. Now, jumping back over to the Big 12, we have once again another monster Big 12 matchup. And that's what's so crazy about conferences being this good is after a while they begin to cannibalize themselves. Kansas is currently sitting at 20-7 with a lot of their big-time losses being in conference play. They're 10-4 in the conference. Houston is 23-4, but 11-3 in the conference. Three of their 4 losses have come in conference play. And another one of these teams are going to have to lose again. The Houston Cougars are currently on a 2-game conference losing streak, and Kansas is coming off of an embarrassing loss to under 500 Cincinnati. Ryan, I want to kick it over to you first. Who do you like in this matchup?
I think a week ago I would have said Kansas. I think a week ago I would have said Kansas, but you just said it. It was an embarrassing loss to Cincinnati. And that's just unlike Kansas, but you know what that shows me? That shows me that they thought that they had it, so they got lackadaisical, and that's exactly what happened. They lost. So they were too confident, and you saw what happened. So I'm going to go Houston.
Yeah. I mean, if you know anything about me, you know that I like picking Kansas in all my brackets and everything. But this is still Allen Fieldhouse, and Houston's great. Houston's a really good team. Actually, if Houston loses this game, it's going to be the first time in like 3 years or since like 2019, something crazy, that they have lost 3 consecutive games. But I really like this Kansas team. I think they're going to get a bounce back up here, and it's the Big 12, right? It eats itself alive, and I think we're going to see more of that today. So rock chalk.
Yeah, and I want to go Kansas because Darren Peterson is one of my favorite players in college basketball. But I'm going to lean towards Houston in this game. An embarrassing loss to Cincy at home, something that they don't do. And Darren Peterson was playing that game. The team, not only him, but the team, everyone shot poorly. They shot only 22% from the 3-point line. When you're shooting like that against a crazy defense like what Houston has, and not to mention the offensive flow that they have as well with Kingston Flemings and Emmanuel Sharp, things are not going to turn out great if they play that way that they played against Cincinnati. So I like Houston with this one. They're coming off a loss against Arizona, a top 5 matchup. They got a lot to play with. They're on a 2-game losing streak in conference play. I think this is where they could kind of regain that confidence again going against Kansas.
Both of these teams are coming into this matchup pissed off, looking to prove a point. Mm-hmm. Kansas, embarrassing loss to Cincinnati. They just could not get a shot to fall. And Houston has lost 2 games in a row. Like you said, Schrader, this could be their first time losing 3 games in a row in over 3 years. This is big time for both of them teams. Both of these teams are very well coached. Kelvin Sampson for Houston, Bill Self for Kansas. This is a massive matchup, and it is going to be an incredible one in the Big 12. Both of these teams play good defense and match it with great offense. It's going to be a good matchup to watch. I'm going to roll with Houston here because I do not see them losing 3 games in a row. But Kansas is an extremely talented team, even aside from Darren Peterson. They have a deep roster of guys that can step up and drop 25 at any point. They're going to find a way to keep it close. But I think that star power from Houston is going to stop them from losing 3 games in a row, and the Cougars are going to go into Allen Fieldhouse and walk out with the W against Kansas. Now, that's all the time we have for Sports Pack tonight, but be sure to follow us on social media at Wolf Sports Network to stay up to date with all things we have going on, and tune in right here, same bet time, same bet channel on Thursday to see what we have in store for you, because it's going to be a good one. But until then, this is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network. Have a blessed night.